everyone. Welcome to today's episode. Praful, welcome to this Q&A session.
Hi, Natalia.
Let's begin by understanding the person and the thinking that powers our day-to-day product leadership.
Okay, before we get started, I'm looking at the camera while saying that. By the way, Natalia is a team member. I work with her extremely closely. So it's extremely weird that she's asking me all this question and she has the opportunity to ask me really tough questions today.
Yeah, I'm going to take that opportunity well. All right. So, Praful, you've been building products for about now 15 years. What keeps you motivated and charged to keep going?
Actually, honestly, I still feel equally excited and to come to work and build something new. And you know, when I think of it, the biggest reason for that is that I continue to see problems that can have solutions. And those problems are with some users. And the moment you end up solving a problem and solving a user problem, I think the gratification that you get from doing that just keeps me immensely excited still. Like I love when I go on the ground and I see some of my products getting actually used that are built by our teams on the ground. I think it's so fascinating to see where a real life problems get solved by something that you just thought of got built. I think that's what motivates me to continue to keep going.
I think as a user experience person, I really like that answer. Great. Your leadership style is known to be very first principles. Can you share an example of an approach that actually, brought clarity for the team?
Yeah, I think when I think of my leadership style, I think I blended between first principle and also a little bit of frugality. I do feel that as product and engineering folks, we do need to work fast towards solving problems and iterate faster. And I think the success rate of your iterations is really mirrored in how you approach the problem or a solution with extremely first principles. The combination of frugality and first principles, when I think of it, I think that is the key towards building something which is extremely impactful. I continue to, operate with that and, operate with my teams and continue to enable more and more people to work by adopting those principles. As an example, I could take something which is extremely recent and closer to home. Think of the Shiprocket app. When you think of the Shiprocket app, which are made for SME merchants, there are two kinds of users that actually use the app. One type of user is the CEO or the entrepreneur, who's basically looking at a snapshot of his business. He's looking for a dashboard experience on the app, not a full-blown workflow, versus an operations guy who's really trying to ship an order using the app. Both have extremely different needs. And if you operate with both of those principles combined, I think you end up solving those problems, which helps in just, creating more impact for the users.
Agreed. I think that aligns quite well with our Shiprocket principles, customer obsession and ship fast.
True.
It's like right there. Great. So, what's the hardest decision you have taken ever as a CPO that in hindsight actually made that product fundamentally better?
Okay, it's a difficult question. I can think of two kinds of decisions that you have to make as a leader in specifically in product. And it's extremely hard. One is actually killing products. I think there is so much emotion attached, so much hard work gone into building something, taking it live, sending it to users, doing all kinds of marketing, alignment, etc., etc. And then when you have to pull the plug, I think it's extremely hard. Sometimes you tend to keep it going just because you still believe that something's going to happen. I think the hardest decision is to be dispassionate, to say it feels like this is something that is not a user need. It does not have product market fit. It automatically frees up bandwidth, mind space, and takes you onto something which you could have more success with. I think that's one extremely hard decision. But I've always, learned myself as a product manager and with my teams, etc., that it shows the benefits in the long run. I think second hard decision are generally people oriented. If you think about it as a leader, because people oriented being that my principle is that I always want to set up people for success. And not everyone can do everything. I think certain people work really well in building 0 to 1 products. Certain people work really well in scaling in the 10 to 100, and some people work really well in further innovating on the 100 to 1000 kind of maturity curves of products. And it's very important to identify and then place people at the right at different stages of the career. Not everyone understands those decisions as well, so it becomes hard because people get attached, find a certain kind of interest or affinity to either team members or product or stakeholders that they work with. So I think those kinds of decisions end up becoming hard from a people standpoint. But again, in the longer run, while calibrating my success rate there, I think it's important from, not just from the person standpoint, but also from the business and company standpoint.
Agreed. And I think I can vouch for that because uh, we have killed products, we have killed features that we've all worked very hard on. But I think in the long run, it really made a huge difference. And from the people's perspective, also having worked across so many products, and they've all been of very different, speeds. And I think that's
Yeah, but so you've had the chance of working with product managers who vary across, maturity curves, thinking, the way they operate, etc. And it's important. Not everyone operates the same way, and hence you have to the fitment needs to be really kept in context there when you're thinking about
that's,
placing.
that's what's been very interesting to just switch the context, switch the pace. And I think that's the beauty of the kind of ecosystem we have in Shiprocket. Yeah. So yeah, lovely. So building on that, like if you look back at your first 100 days here, what's the biggest insight that shaped your long-term plan for Shiprocket?
See, when I reflect on my early days at Shiprocket, and also think of what I learned and what helped me scale further, I think it's building an extremely deep understanding of why we are here and who we are here for. I think extremely first principle, like my overall product philosophy. So the first 100 days for me were a lot about spending time on the ground, meeting customers, spending time in the warehouse, spending time on the ground, and figuring out or how operations work, because that was something which was new for me as well, to really look at it from a different lens. And I think unless you have the empathy of who you're solving for, who's the kind of persona or the customer that you're solving for, I think applying that back to each and every part of the product that you're building, even an error case that you're trying to handle, or a call out message that you're trying to put, or a workflow that you're trying to design, unless you have that customer in mind, it becomes extremely difficult. Then you end up designing something that you like or you feel is going to be the best possible way. So I think just doing that and marrying some of that with the both qualitative and quantitative insights that I could find from the user side, business side, etc., which helped me build an extremely 360 macro understanding of the business before I jumped in to say, okay, let me go into the details and the under the hood to see what's happening and what I can change or improve or add value towards. And I try and follow this sort of approach to anybody who's coming in new, specifically on the product team. The first, I call it the 30-60-90 plan for everyone that's coming in, to build across, spend a lot of time in building a horizontal understanding. The good part, I also say the challenging part of Shiprocket is that we're extremely horizontal in the kind of products that we have. We have a lot of offerings across, starting from marketing to payments to shipping. All of these have different products, different teams, different businesses, use cases. I think it's important to understand what we are doing here, and spending time in your first 3 months is extremely important, because post that I feel you just get too colored and you get too much detail into your own product that you're building to not have the overall understanding. So I think it's extremely important to do that. So my first 100 days, I'd say is that I think just having the macro understanding and the 360 view helped me immensely.
One from your earlier point that you mentioned about obviously understanding the customers and going deep into that again I can vouch for, because like we receive messages midnight, guys ye fata hua hai, guys ye message nahi aa raha hai sahi se, the experience is broken, and so on and so forth. And your consistent approach to always understand not just of course our products but the entire ecosystem, because as you rightly said, there are so many verticals. We have internally so many products, and then to understand the competition, to understand the industry, it's not just one segment. There are so many segments over there. So we're just going deep into it, and I think most of the people in the team have experienced that with you, Vishal. Yeah. It's great. So now talking about the products that are being built here at Shiprocket, if you had to describe Shiprocket's product philosophy in one sentence, what would it be?
I'm not sure if it's a sentence, but I think, and you mentioned this earlier, I think it's customer obsession or customer backwards. And it's been sort of from the word go, if you really think about it. Even, before you and me were in the organization, when Gautam and Sahil started, I think it was always trying to figure out a customer need and working backwards from that. And that is why after a few pivots, of ideation and iterations, we were able to land at a product market fit of Shiprocket. That was not the original idea with which the product started with, but we finally figured that this is what is going to work and this is the need of the seller. They do need access to all kinds of courier partners at one place. They need better pricing. They need somebody to manage ops more efficiently, have technical workflows, transparent numbers, dashboards, etc. All of that, and I think that is what it resulted in Shiprocket. And if you think of the journey for us for over the past, I would say 4 years or 5 years, the stack has also horizontally expanded because we are working back from the customer. So every time we go back to the customer, anytime you are going and having a conversation or and we're trying to figure out needs that the customer still has, which are not catered to well in either our platform or any other platform, or they have to manage that using fragmented processes or fragmented tools which work really inefficiently to put it together. For that to be a part of the Shiprocket overall operating system or product stack helps them do their work better, helps us derive value, not just 1 plus 1 almost equals 11 in that case, because there's a lot of commonality that can be done, data flows that operate much more seamlessly. So that principle of identifying the customer problem and trying to build on top of it and build a solution on top of it and finding product market fit through iterations. I think that philosophy has held true. It continues to hold true today, and I feel it's going to hold true for a long time for Shiprocket because it's extremely simple, extremely transferable, but does the job and really finds impactful products that we can create.
So to actually build on that, what do you think is the core problem Shiprocket is solving for Bharat's merchants today? And how has that problem evolved in the last 2-3 years? Because of course, you said that we pivoted,
Yeah.
and how significantly we pivoted, and the way this ecosystem has expanded horizontally. So,
Yeah.
so from there also, how do you think has things changed in the last 2-3 years? Yeah.
Yeah, I think for the MSMEs in Bharat, the positioning that we want to take as Shiprocket is that we're trying to do a lot of enablement. We are helping create almost a level playing field for MSMEs with larger players or enterprises in the market as well. A lot of the problem with product tooling and capabilities, the SaaS products has been that they're mostly available for larger customers, and a lot of the SMBs don't have access or don't have the kind of product that they need to really solve a problem. As an example, for example, I want to run my marketing. The best marketing is probably run by agencies still. There is no self-serve product tool that does a really good job where an SMB does not have to understand all the nuances of Google and Facebook ads and manage through multiple complex panels, etc. That continues to remain an opportunity, right? How can we solve it for the SMB? Because at the end of the day, what the SMB needs, either conversions or leads to be able to convert them into paying customers, right? That's the kind of problem statement that we try and operate with when we think of building for Bharat and for SMBs, is to really enable them to do their business in a much more seamless manner. Like I say this a lot, is that we want SMBs to focus on building the best bottle or the best t-shirt or the best furniture, etc. We don't want them getting lost in trying to manage all these tools and websites and products and features, all of that. That should sort of be extremely easy, right? Which isn't right now. And I think that's where we're coming from, to say, how do we solve for that by giving them an extremely intuitive, easy to operate product experience, which runs across most of the value chain of the product, of their business, and helps them operate much more efficiently, so that they can focus on the right things and not get lost and with all of this.
So you did mention, like, we have diverse segments, right, in the market. We have small merchants, we have big merchants. So, which is exactly what my next question is about. Our merchant base spans from first-time sellers to, scaled e-commerce brands like SMBs and, large enterprises. So how do you prioritize building for such diverse segments and, without losing the product clarity? Because very different type of segments, and there is a lot to offer. So
Yes.
how do you start?
Oh, it's hard. Honestly, it's not easy. What's extremely exciting for us there, at least, is that we've also seen some merchants or businesses start off extremely in the first segment, like just early stage entrepreneurs, and really scale to become extremely large, biggest brand D2C brands or enterprises for the country, and continue to remain with Shiprocket throughout. So extremely fulfilling for us as a business overall, not just product. When we think of handling all these kinds of merchant bases, and we largely classify them into three buckets as the smaller entrepreneurs who just starting off, created their first Instagram page, getting some orders, etc. Then there are some SMEs who are doing really well, have their own website, a couple of warehouses operating at somewhat scale, and now starting to see a lot of product market fit. And then there's the larger enterprises like you were mentioning, and to continuously build for all three because we want to serve everyone in the ecosystem. I think it's a hard prioritization problem. But when we think of it fundamentally, I think one of the biggest discussion points becomes is that something comes as an ask for an enterprise, which could on the outset seem like a custom development, which is only for this X company. I think this is where the job of a product manager becomes extremely important. Is to take a step back, really evaluate whether it's just a one time ask or is actually a product
Everybody.
applies to everybody. Because the moment we try and make it a little bit abstract, we try to think of it as, hey, this is actually a product opportunity. We might still end up building a part of it, only not build all of it. And in the interest of time and scope and impact, etc. And in my learning, I think 80% of the cases are like that. Not all, but a lot of them. I think what we end up struggling, and this is constant, learning for us as a group and a team as well, is that we continue to keep on identifying this more and more, but we have to be also fast and frugal. We're going to earlier. So it's a tricky balance to create. But I think if we start thinking of everything that's coming in as more products offering, product opportunity versus a custom feature ask, I think a lot of problems get solved at the get-go in itself.
That's true. I think I can also like I've also been in those experiences where I think some of our bigger sellers, because they have their teams and they reach out to them and they have had different problems that they keep. You can't even imagine. Like they're facing those kind of problems, which are so realistic on the ground kind of problems that they're having, and they share something and we realize, oh my God,
This is needed for everyone.
this is a real problem, and this should really be solved for everyone, whether it's a first time seller or SMB or a large enterprise. But
Something as small as filters, right? I need these kinds of filters to do my work better, and then you end up realizing, hey, this will actually make everyone's life better, not just the enterprise. Yeah.
and we identified so many of such things just by hearing some of these custom feedbacks from these like mid to large size segments. So agreed.
So there's our enterprise sales and account management teams and our product teams. There's a lot of solutioning required at times, which needs all this discovery that I was talking about. Hey, is this really a product level ask or just a custom ask? So we've created these regular rhythms where we are meeting constantly, figuring out the inputs, trying to diagnose the problem and get to the discovery stage, so that there is ample clarity and alignment. And the second thing, I think we also work a lot on our app, because a lot of our on-the-go entrepreneurs, people who are just starting off, etc., we see a lot of people trying the product through the app. So I think it's extremely important to keep at it. We see a lot of our initial acquisition happen through that. We're a pre-played platform, so a lot of people find it extremely easy also to just pay per use and use it and try it. Which gives them a easy try out the Shiprocket experience and then scale from there.
So clearly, multiple things that are actually helping all kinds of segments on the platform. So just going deeper into the segments itself, actually, for a merchant who's just starting, how can they get the maximum value from Shiprocket's full stack ecosystem? Like somebody who's just starting out.
I think what's very interesting in the Shiprocket ecosystem is that we are extremely modular in terms of how the product has been built. So if you think of the overall product stack, which is broadly broken into three pieces: marketing, payments, and shipping, merchants and SMBs can pick and choose what they want as a solution. I think the platform is extremely flexible to say, hey, I only want to try out, let's say, shipping and marketing for now. Let me see how it runs, and then from there on scale. Or I just want to try out the checkout product for now, attach it to my Shopify website and see if it's giving me better conversion, and then add maybe shipping later. So I think that benefit adds a lot of ease on the merchants. It eases the decision making on saying, hey, I'm not getting stuck with everything with one product or one company, etc. But I can try it out. If it works out, I can scale from there. So easily,
It gets overwhelming. Also.
exactly, yeah. So there is less anxiety of saying, "Hey, am I doing the right thing here?" There's the tryout. In terms of what I recommend or what I feel, if you think about how problems of the merchants have evolved, you could probably say that they have evolved, but they've also remained the same to a large extent because they again continue to remain extremely simple, extremely fundamental. Merchants still want more orders, which is mirrored in having better conversions. And I'm talking about e-commerce merchants now. They want more and more orders to get delivered, specifically because of the COD ecosystem in India. Orders keep on coming back because of RTOs. And they want a lot of trust generally. They want lesser headaches in managing operations. So I'd say for a lot of these, our shipping stack and our checkout stack is a really good starting point to get better conversions and to lessen the load on operations management and to reduce RTOs. I think that's a great starting point for most merchants when they try out house and see maximize the value that they can get from the Shiprocket ecosystem, and then thereon scale to more products within our stack.
Great. So this was for a smaller segment. You go to the other end completely, which is basically the direct commerce brands who are scaling and are beyond a certain. So how can they find the right product market fit in the ecosystem?
So I think I'm like fascinated by the kind of products that B2C commerce has to offer. I buy a lot myself for my family. My wife shops a lot on Instagram. I'm sure you do as well. And the kind of innovative, high quality products that are coming through, I think I have so much appreciation and gratitude for all the D2C founders that are doing the hard work. I still do feel the concept of finding product market fit, whether it's for us building a technology SaaS tool kind of product, or it's for somebody building a physical product like a bottle or a T-shirt or a furniture. I think the first principles continue to still remain the same on saying, hey, what does the customer need? Do you have a fairly good understanding of the customer need? Are you extremely close to the customer? Are you getting regular feedback? Do you understand what the customers are liking, what they are not liking? Are you iterating on that feedback? Operating the business in a sustainable way. I think that's key because, at least in my sort of experience and exposure, what I've seen is that sometimes brands tend to then gravitate towards a lot of the finances management of things, and then figuring out how will the next round of funding come in, and how when I'm going to manage it exactly. But from the get-go, if you're running a sustainable business which is, let's say, P&L positive, you're making money off of each sale that you're doing, then adding to sales is actually not a negative thing, because if you're losing money on each sale, then it's a double-edged sword, because you want to do growth but you also don't want to lose more money. So I think what I feel fundamentally is that if there's a fundamental need that you can solve, if you're close to your customer, and if you're running the business in a sustainable way, I think it's the best way to find product market fit for what you're doing.
Great, great, great. Thank you so much for your insights.
Absolutely.
These were excellent insights. I think not just for our audience, but also for us to
I'd like to I'll ask you a question as well. Similar, tell me when you're building. So, by the way, guys, Natalia leads user experience for us, which means any design, any experience, any workflow that you see on Shiprocket is sort of coming from her team. Tell me, when you think of UX, how do you end up visualizing the customer when you're designing something, and how do you keep the customer in mind, and how important is that?
I think I'll start answering in reverse. How important is that? The most important thing, the topmost priority. I know there are these, the balanced answers, of course, being managing business and the customer. But if we cannot prioritize customer and their experience, I think I'll never be able to, come backwards from a business perspective. So top priority. And I think when I think about the customers and the products and building for them, I would say I have this very uncanny, experience that happens where I literally start putting myself in their shoes at that moment, when of course this comes with the fact that you have to understand what our customers are actually doing on ground with the product, like their real life experience. So understanding that and coming from that understanding to just put yourself, in that position to keep using the product and see yourself that, what's going to happen when I do this? Is this making my life easier? Am I actually able to use this? Because there are a lot of assumptions that most people come with when we think of, their customers, their users, that this is simple, this is easy. We get married to our designs and our products, right? Without realizing that actual person, which is actually a diverse category, right? So many segments that we've also spoken about. And it's so different. So it's just, it's like I get possessed and I just start imagining and visualizing, what's going to happen when I'm doing this? Yeah. I try to step away from my knowledge of the product. I try to step away from my understanding of, anything technical, and I just start using the product as a, layman. And it just allows me to very slowly and steadily and step by step understand that what's happening and what's going to come next, or what should have been here instead of what's maybe, that I'm seeing. And just simplify, because we being a B2B platform, and then sheer number of products and the sheer number of workflows and processes that we have to deal with and our users have to deal with, if we cannot simplify, this process for them, then I think we are failing somewhere. So it just comes from that, and working towards it day by day.
Thank you, Natalia.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.